In modern life, pressure is almost a daily occurrence. Work pressure, financial pressure, pressure from family and societal expectations, all create a constant stream of stress that many find difficult to avoid. Some days we wake up feeling heavy-hearted, our minds filled with thoughts of unfinished tasks, responsibilities ahead, and worries that seem to have no resolution. Pressure isn't always bad, but when we don't know how to deal with it, it can erode our peace of mind and gradually exhaust us. It's noteworthy that, even in similar circumstances, some people become stronger after each difficulty, while others gradually lose motivation and faith. The difference doesn't lie in favorable or unfavorable circumstances, but in how each person perceives and handles pressure. When viewing pressure as an enemy, people easily fall into a state of resistance and exhaustion. When viewing pressure as a signal for growth, we begin to learn how to adjust our thinking, change habits, and find methods to strengthen our minds. In reality, overcoming pressure doesn't mean making all problems disappear. Life always presents new challenges, new goals, and new responsibilities. The important thing is that we learn to maintain inner peace amidst change, knowing when to move forward, when to rest, and when to let go of what is no longer necessary. A person who knows how to manage pressure isn't someone who doesn't face difficulties, but rather someone who understands their own limitations, knows how to care for their mental health, and gradually builds inner strength through small daily actions. Many people seek complex solutions to stress, but sometimes simple changes yield lasting results. A more positive mindset, a more regular lifestyle, or even just a few minutes of quiet each day can significantly lighten the mind. When the mind is less chaotic, we see problems more clearly, make wiser decisions, and experience life with serenity instead of anxiety. In this video, you'll discover simple yet powerful rules that can change how you face daily pressure. These rules don't require special qualifications or exceptional talent. They just need consistent, small-step application. If you're feeling overwhelmed by life's burdens, take a few minutes to listen until the end. You might find a new perspective, a new approach, and more importantly, a feeling that you can still move forward with a lighter heart. If you find the content helpful, please like and subscribe to the channel to continue following our videos that help make life more peaceful and stable every day. 1. Accept that pressure is a part of life. No life is entirely easy. Whether rich or poor, a beginner or a successful person, everyone faces their own stressful periods. Pressure arises when responsibilities increase, expectations grow, and life presents challenges that force us to change. Therefore, the first thing to understand is that pressure is not a sign that life is against you, but a natural part of the journey of growth. Many people panic when pressure arises because they always want life to be easy and smooth. When things don't go as planned, they think they're failing or encountering something unusual. This very thought makes the pressure much heavier. In reality, if we look deeper, we'll see that stressful periods often appear precisely when we're entering a new phase, learning a new skill, or getting closer to an important goal. Observe a child learning to walk. Those first steps are always shaky, filled with falls and fear. If the child believes falling is something that shouldn't happen, they will soon give up. But because falling is seen as normal, the child keeps getting up and eventually learns to walk steadily. Adult life is similar. The pressure comes from those first tentative steps in the new stages of life. When we accept that pressure is natural, our mindset immediately changes. Instead of asking why this is happening to us, we begin to ask what we can learn from this situation. This small shift in thinking greatly reduces stress, because people's greatest fear isn't the difficulty itself, but the feeling that things are going wrong and getting out of control. When we understand that pressure is inherently present, we no longer see it as unusual. A common mistake is trying to completely eliminate pressure from life. This is almost impossible. When you're young, pressure comes from studying and future career aspirations. When you start working, pressure comes from your job and finances. When you have a family, pressure comes from the responsibility of caring for loved ones. When you achieve success, pressure comes from maintaining that success. Each stage of life has its own form of pressure, and trying to avoid it only makes us feel more helpless. Conversely, strong, mature individuals often have a very different attitude. They don't try to run away from pressure. They learn to adapt to it. They understand that feeling stressed before a new challenge is a sign that they are stepping outside their comfort zone. And it is these steps outside their comfort zone that help people develop their abilities, increase their confidence, and expand their limits. Accepting pressure doesn't mean passively enduring it. Acceptance means recognizing its existence, understanding that it's normal, and calmly finding ways to handle it. When the mind is no longer panicked, we can more easily see solutions. A problem that once kept us awake for days can be solved in just a few clear steps when the mind is calm enough. Imagine two people facing a large workload. The first person constantly thinks they can't handle it, that the work is too heavy, that everything is unfair. This mindset makes them tired even before they start. The second person also feels pressured, but they remind themselves that busy periods are normal and they will handle each task one at a time. The actual work is the same, but their mental states are completely different, and the final results are often different as well. When we accept pressure as a part of life, we begin to develop mental resilience. This ability is like a muscle. If never used, it weakens. If trained little by little, it becomes strong. Each time we overcome a stressful period, we understand ourselves better, realize we are capable of more than we ever thought possible, and our self-confidence increases. Another benefit of accepting pressure is that we compare ourselves less to others. Many people see the success of others without seeing the pressures they have faced. When we believe that other people's lives are always easy, we easily feel unhappy. But when we understand that everyone has their own burdens, the only difference being whether they talk about them or not, we will feel less insecure and focus more on our own path. Accepting pressure also helps us learn patience. Not every problem is solved immediately. There are stages that require time to accumulate experience, time to change habits, and time for circumstances to change. When we understand that pressure is a natural part of the development process, we will be more persistent, instead of giving up prematurely before seeing results. The important thing is that after accepting pressure, we need to learn how to take care of ourselves during stressful periods. Get adequate rest, maintain good health, keep good habits, and dedicate time to activities that help relax the mind. When both body and mind are cared for, the ability to withstand pressure increases significantly. Pressure will still exist, but it will no longer exhaust us as it did before. Finally, remember that the most stressful periods are often the ones that bring the greatest growth. Years later, looking back, we often realize that it was the difficult times that forged our resilience, helped us understand the value of effort, and made us stronger versions of ourselves. So instead of fearing pressure, view it as an integral part of life's journey. When the mind accepts this, fear diminishes, calmness increases, and we gain the strength to move forward through life's challenges. 2. Distinguish between what is controllable and what is uncontrollable. In life, much of the pressure doesn't come from the events themselves, but from our attempts to control things beyond our control. People often want everything to go according to plan, want others to think the way they want, and desire a secure and risk-free future. However, reality shows that most things in life are beyond our personal control. Without understanding this, we easily fall into prolonged anxiety, feelings of helplessness, and waste a lot of energy on things we can't change. One of the most important skills for reducing stress is learning to clearly distinguish between what is within your control and what is not. Things like your work attitude, how you react to difficulties, your daily habits, your daily efforts, or your career choices are all within your control. Conversely, the weather, Other people's opinions, economic fluctuations, or unexpected life events are often beyond our control. Without distinguishing between these two groups, people easily waste energy in the wrong places. Imagine someone constantly worrying about how others perceive them. They overthink every word, every glance, and strive to please everyone. But no one can completely control how others judge them. The more they try to control it, the more exhausted they become. If they change their perspective, focus on behaving sincerely, doing their job well, and maintaining a respectful attitude towards others, they will feel much lighter. At this point, they are focusing on what they can control instead of what they cannot. Another common mistake is excessive worry about the future. People often imagine many scenarios that haven't happened yet, fearing failure, loss, and worst-case scenarios. These worries often last for months, even years, while most of these fears don't materialize. The reason is that we are trying to control the future, while the future always contains an element of uncertainty. The only thing we can control is our actions today. By focusing on small, actionable steps, anxiety about the future will gradually decrease. People who live peacefully often have a simple habit. When faced with a problem, they ask themselves what they can do right now. If there is a concrete action, they begin to take steps. If nothing can be changed, they learn to accept it and shift their attention to something else. This way of thinking saves a great deal of mental energy. Instead of repeatedly dwelling on unproductive thoughts, they dedicate their time to actions that yield tangible results. Focusing on what you can control also helps increase a sense of initiative in life. When people feel they can act and create change, their spirit becomes stronger. Conversely, when constantly thinking that everything is beyond their control, feelings of helplessness arise and motivation decreases. Simply shifting attention to small but specific things, such as completing a task for the day, improving a habit, or learning a new skill, will make us feel clearly that we are still moving forward. A simple example is when facing pressure at work. Many people worry about the final outcome, about how others will judge them, or about potential negative consequences. But the final result depends on many factors, not all of which are within our control. What we can control is preparation, focus, and effort in completing each part of the work. When we focus on these factors, the pressure will lessen because we are taking action instead of just worrying. Learning to let go of things beyond your control doesn't mean being indifferent to life. On the contrary, it's about using your energy wisely. Everyone's mental energy is limited. If we waste it on things we can't change, we won't have enough strength left to handle things that truly require action. When you know how to focus your attention, both your work efficiency and your peace of mind increase. To cultivate this habit, whenever you feel anxious, ask yourself a simple question: is this within my control? If the answer is yes, create a specific action plan and start immediately. If the answer is no, remind yourself that continuing to worry won't change the situation. Shifting your attention to something more productive is a wiser choice. This may not be easy at first, but with practice, your mind will gradually develop a new reflex. One profound benefit of distinguishing between what is controllable and what is uncontrollable is that it helps people live more realistically. We understand that life is always uncertain, and maturity lies in adapting, not in forcing things to go our way. By accepting this truth, stress decreases, flexibility increases, and we become calmer in the face of unexpected changes. Over time, the habit of focusing on what we can control creates a sense of inner stability. No matter how external circumstances change, we know what we need to do within our capabilities. This clarity reduces confusion, allows for quicker decision-making, and strengthens our resolve during difficult times. Life doesn't become easier immediately, but the way we face it becomes much more effortless. 3. Reduce unrealistic expectations. Much of life's pressure doesn't stem from circumstances, but from the excessively high expectations people place on themselves. Setting ambitious goals within a short time frame keeps the mind constantly stressed, feeling like a race against time. If results aren't as expected, people easily become disappointed, doubt themselves, and gradually lose motivation. While high expectations aren't inherently wrong, unrealistic expectations are the source of much unspoken pressure. In modern society, people often see the success of others through simplified images. They see the results, but not the long process behind them. When comparing themselves to those results, many people set goals that exceed their current capabilities and hope to achieve them in a very short time. When the gap between expectations and reality becomes too large, stress begins to appear. The more they try to rush to close the gap, the more pressure increases and the less effective they become. Unrealistic expectations lead people to misjudge their own progress. Every skill, every achievement, and every stage of growth requires time to accumulate. Without understanding this principle, many people think they must be excellent immediately, achieve success quickly, or attain perfect results from the start. This mindset prevents them from making mistakes, from taking small steps forward, and therefore they always feel they are not good enough. Prolonged stress reduces concentration and makes people more likely to give up before achieving real results. Lowering unrealistic expectations doesn't mean giving up on dreams or living without purpose. The key is adjusting the pace and scale of your goals to suit your current stage of life. When goals are broken down into clear, small steps, the mind feels lighter knowing you're making progress each day. Each small step creates a sense of accomplishment, and this feeling fosters long-term motivation that's stronger than any pressure. A person learning a new skill is a clear example of this. If they expect to become proficient quickly and achieve outstanding results in a very short time, they will easily become discouraged when they encounter initial difficulties. But if they set simpler goals, making a little progress each day, improving a little each week, they will find the learning process much more pleasant. After a long time, this quiet accumulation of knowledge will produce far more sustainable results than trying to break through too quickly. Another reason people set unrealistic expectations is the fear of being judged. When trying to prove their worth to others, many people set excessively high standards for themselves and want to achieve results quickly to gain recognition. However, a person's true value is not determined by the speed of achievement, but by perseverance and consistency in their development. Understanding this will help people be less hasty and focus more on building a solid foundation. Reducing unrealistic expectations also helps people maintain patience. When goals are aligned with current capabilities, each effort feels like progress, and this feeling creates natural motivation. Conversely, when goals are too far beyond current capabilities, no matter how hard you try, you still feel inadequate, and feelings of frustration accumulate over time. Patience is not about enduring hardship for a long time, but about the ability to see a reasonable path of development. A simple way to adjust expectations is to look at your current resources. Time, skills, experience, and personal circumstances all affect the speed at which you achieve results. By accurately assessing these factors, you can set more realistic goals, can avoid unnecessary pressure. This doesn't diminish the value of your dreams, but makes the path to achieving them more sustainable. Mature individuals understand that success is a long journey, not a single leap. They don't demand to completely transform their lives in a short time, but instead focus on improving small aspects each day. Looking back over a long period, they realize that these small, consistent steps have created significant change. This approach helps them maintain composure even when results aren't immediately apparent. Reducing unrealistic expectations also helps improve mental health. When you no longer feel the need to achieve everything immediately, your mind has more space to rest, observe, and learn. This calmness helps you make better decisions and avoid hasty choices due to time pressure. Many major mistakes in life occur when people try to achieve quick results without enough preparation time. Life has its own rhythm, and everyone develops at a different pace. Accepting that slow but steady progress is still progress helps us compare ourselves to others and reduces self-pressure. This doesn't diminish ambition. Instead, it allows it to endure and grow stronger. Those who move slowly but never stop usually go further than those who run too fast and run out of steam along the way. If you find this lesson helpful, please share it with your loved ones and subscribe to the channel to learn more simple rules to help you overcome life's pressures and live more peacefully each day. 4. Maintain a healthy lifestyle. In the face of life's pressures, many people seek complex mental health solutions, forgetting a very simple foundation: physical health. When the body weakens, the mind also becomes more vulnerable to difficulties. A person who doesn't get enough sleep, has irregular eating habits, and is inactive often feels stressed more quickly, is more prone to anxiety, and finds it harder to remain calm when facing problems. Therefore, taking care of one's health is not just about maintaining physical well-being, but also about protecting mental resilience. Sleep is the primary factor determining a person's ability to withstand stress. When you get enough deep sleep, your brain has time to recover and reorganize information from the day. Conversely, lack of sleep leaves the mind constantly fatigued, reduces concentration, makes emotions more easily agitated, and even small problems can become major sources of stress. Many people think that cutting back on sleep to work more will help them progress faster, but in reality, prolonged sleep deprivation reduces work efficiency and increases stress over time. Eating a balanced and nutritious diet is also a crucial foundation for mental stability. The body needs energy to function, and the brain needs nutrients to maintain alertness. When meals are irregular or lacking in nutrients, the body easily falls into a state of fatigue. Mood swings and patience significantly decrease. A person who eats regularly tends to feel more stable throughout the day, making it easier to control emotions and think clearly when facing pressure. Regular exercise is the third factor that helps increase stress tolerance. When the body is active, blood circulation improves, energy flows freely, and feelings of lethargy decrease. After exercising, many people find their mood improves, their minds become clearer, and negative thoughts diminish. This shows that exercise not only helps keep the body healthy, but is also a natural way to relieve mental stress. A common mistake is that many people only pay attention to their health when their bodies are already exhausted. During busy periods, they are willing to skip meals, stay up late, and work continuously for long periods. Initially, they may be able to maintain this pace, but over time, their bodies begin to lose energy. Their minds become easily stressed, and their work efficiency decreases. At that point, the pressure comes not only from work, but also from their unstable health. If they had maintained a healthcare routine from the beginning, much of the stress could have been significantly reduced. Taking care of your health doesn't require drastic changes. It starts with small, consistent habits. Going to bed a little earlier, eating on more regular times, and spending a few minutes exercising each day all make a difference over time. These small changes are like building the foundation of a house. When the foundation is strong, the house can withstand many external impacts. Similarly, when the body is healthy, the mind is also able to withstand life's pressures. A healthy body also helps people maintain self-confidence. When feeling energetic, people tend to be more proactive in their work and relationships. Conversely, when the body is tired, many people easily feel inadequate, leading to anxiety and stress. Therefore, taking care of one's health is not only about preventing illness, but also about nurturing self-confidence and a positive spirit. In modern life, the fast pace leads many to believe they don't have time to take care of themselves. However, the reality is that when health declines, they have to spend more time recovering and dealing with the consequences. Prioritizing health from the start is a way to save time in the long run. A healthy body leads to greater work efficiency, clearer thinking, and significantly reduces prolonged periods of fatigue. Furthermore, good health habits foster personal discipline. By maintaining simple habits like sleeping on time, eating a balanced diet, and exercising regularly, individuals develop a sense of control over their lives. This sense of control reduces anxiety because we know we are proactively protecting ourselves instead of being swept away by circumstances. This proactiveness is a tremendous source of mental strength when facing pressure. Many studies also show that physical condition directly affects how people react to difficulties. When the body is healthy, breathing is stable, energy is abundant, and the mind tends to be calmer in stressful situations. When the body is tired, the same problem becomes much more unpleasant and burdensome. This shows that taking care of one's health is a way to increase stress tolerance from the root. Maintaining a healthy lifestyle also helps people realize the value of balance. Life isn't just about working and achieving results, but also about maintaining energy for the long haul. Understanding this, we no longer strive to work ourselves to exhaustion, but instead adjust our pace accordingly. This balance makes life more sustainable and reduces feelings of overwhelming pressure. Finally, remember that mind and body are always interconnected. A weak body makes the spirit vulnerable, and prolonged mental stress weakens the body. By taking care of our bodies with adequate sleep, healthy meals, and regular exercise, we are creating a natural defense against life's pressures. Pressure may still exist, but with a solid foundation of health, we have the energy and alertness to navigate it more calmly and strongly. 5. Learn to rest at the right time. Resting is not laziness. Resting is for going further. In modern life, many people believe that the more they work, the faster they will succeed. They try to fill every moment with work, study, and other responsibilities. Initially, this may create a feeling of progress, but over time, the body becomes fatigued, morale declines, and work efficiency gradually decreases. What many people fail to realize is that humans are not machines, and perseverance doesn't come from working continuously, but from the ability to know when to stop. Resting is not procrastination, nor is it a sign of lack of determination. Rest is an essential part of the development process. When the body and mind have time to recover, energy is regenerated, thinking becomes clearer, and concentration improves. A person who knows how to rest properly is generally more productive than someone who is constantly exhausted. Many people feel guilty about taking breaks because they think the time off is lost time. The reality is quite the opposite. When working while tired, we are more prone to mistakes, process problems more slowly, and need more time to correct those errors. A short but well-timed break can help clear the mind, allowing work to be completed faster and more accurately. Thus, rest doesn't slow down progress, but rather contributes to sustainable progress. Resting also helps balance emotions. When stress is prolonged, people easily become irritable, impatient, and react strongly to minor issues. This not only affects work, but also relationships. When you know when to stop to rest, take deep breaths, or step away from work for a short period, emotions gradually stabilize and your behavior becomes gentler. Decisions made in a calm state are usually much wiser. A common mistake is that many people only rest when they are extremely tired. By then, both the body and mind are already exhausted, and recovery time will be much longer than if they had rested regularly beforehand. Resting at the right time means listening to your body's signals. When you feel your concentration decreasing, your mind becoming heavy, or your emotions easily stressed, these are signs that you need to pause to recharge your energy. Small but frequent breaks help maintain long-term endurance. Rest doesn't necessarily have to be long vacations. Sometimes, just a few minutes away from the screen, a leisurely walk or sitting still and breathing slowly is enough to refresh the mind. These simple habits are like recharging little by little, helping us stay alert throughout the day. People who take short but regular breaks are less likely to experience burnout than those who work continuously for long hours. Adequate sleep is the most important form of rest. During deep sleep, the brain reorganizes information, the body recovers energy, and the nervous system stabilizes. Prolonged sleep deprivation leads to mental fatigue, reduced concentration, and volatile emotions. Many people try to cut back on sleep to work more, but after a while, they realize that their work efficiency decreases significantly, stress increases, and their bodies weaken. This shows that getting enough sleep is not a luxury, but a necessary condition for maintaining long-term performance. Rest also helps people maintain creativity. When the mind is constantly stressed, thinking often becomes rigid, and it's difficult to find new solutions. When there is time to relax, the brain functions more flexibly, and many new ideas emerge naturally. Therefore, many people realize that good ideas often come when they are taking a walk, resting, or when their minds are relaxed. Proper rest doesn't interrupt creativity. It actually nurtures it. Another benefit of taking breaks is that it helps people reflect on their path. When working continuously, we easily get caught up in the pace without considering whether we're on the right track. Pauses allow us to reassess our goals, adjust plans, and avoid wasting time on unnecessary tasks. As a result, the path ahead becomes clearer and pressure is reduced. Taking proper breaks also helps protect long-term health. Overworking for extended periods weakens the body, leading to sleep problems, nervous tension, and various other health issues. Maintaining a regular rest schedule allows the body time to recover and keeps the immune system stable. A healthy body helps people face life's pressures with greater calmness and resilience. In the long journey of life, what matters is not running fast for a short period, but maintaining a steady pace over the long term. Those who know how to rest are like those who know how to adjust their pace on a long journey. They don't try to run continuously until exhaustion, but know when to stop to regain energy, and continue with unwavering determination. This sensible rhythm allows them to go further and more persistently. Learning to rest is also learning to respect yourself. When we allow ourselves to stop, we acknowledge that our body and mind need care. This respect creates a sense of balance, helping us work with a positive attitude instead of feeling forced. When we are in a positive mood, work becomes easier and pressure is significantly reduced. Finally, it's important to understand that rest doesn't slow us down, but rather helps us move forward. A person who knows when to rest will have the energy to keep striving, the composure to handle problems, and the resilience to overcome difficult times. In a life full of pressure, the ability to rest properly is a crucial skill that helps people maintain balance, sustain performance, and walk steadily on the long road ahead. 6. Don't compare your life to others. Constant comparison only increases pressure and decreases self-confidence. In today's age, people easily see other people's lives every day through social media, the press, and success stories shared everywhere. We see images of wealth, extravagant trips, outstanding achievements, and sometimes unconsciously compare our own lives to those images. When comparison begins, pressure also starts to build. Many people feel slower, less capable, or not good enough, even though they are actually progressing in their own way. Comparison isn't always bad, but when it becomes a regular habit, it easily turns into a source of stress and low self-esteem. Everyone is born into different circumstances, with different abilities, different opportunities, and different challenges. When we only look at the results of others without seeing the journey behind them, we easily misjudge ourselves. This leads to decreased self-confidence while pressure increases daily. One reason comparison is stressful is that it creates a constant feeling of inadequacy. Even after achieving certain accomplishments, many people remain dissatisfied because there's always someone else who's achieved more. This feeling makes it difficult to enjoy what they have, and they constantly feel the need to run faster and try harder without truly knowing what they're striving for. When life becomes an invisible race, it's very difficult for the mind to find peace. Not comparing ourselves to others doesn't mean we stop learning. We can still observe the success of others to learn from their experiences, but instead of using them as a yardstick to judge ourselves, let's see them as a source of inspiration. When we look at others with a learning mindset, we maintain positivity and motivation for growth. When we look at others with a competitive and comparative mindset, we easily fall into feelings of pressure and fatigue. Everyone has their own pace of growth. Some achieve success early, some later. Some take a straightforward path, while others must overcome many challenges. No two paths are exactly alike. Understanding this allows us to focus more on self-development instead of constantly comparing ourselves to others. This focus ensures our energy is used effectively, and the feeling of pressure is significantly reduced. Comparison often makes us forget our own small progress. Each day, if we look back, we'll see that we've learned something new, grown a little more, and become stronger than before. These small steps, when accumulated over time, will create big changes. When we recognize the value of each small step, we no longer feel like we're falling behind, but rather that we're on the right path. One way to reduce the habit of comparing yourself to others is to focus on your personal goals. When goals are clear, we know what we need to do today, what we need to improve tomorrow, and what we need to persevere with in the long term. This clarity keeps the mind busy with self-improvement instead of constantly looking at others. As we take small steps toward our goals each day, our self-confidence will gradually increase. Being grateful for what you have is also a way to reduce comparison. When we regularly focus on the positive things in life, such as health, family, learning opportunities, or good relationships, we realize that our lives still have so much value. This feeling of contentment soothes the need to compare and helps to lighten the mind. Avoiding comparisons helps maintain long-term focus. Constantly looking at others makes us prone to changing goals. Seeing someone succeed in one field makes us want to switch. Seeing someone excel in another makes us want to try their hand at it. This constant change disperses energy and makes it difficult to achieve sustainable results. When we focus on our own path, even if progress is slow, it's steady, and the results are usually more stable. People who live without comparison tend to have more stable moods. They find joy in their own progress, they learn from their failures, and they don't feel threatened by the success of others. This mindset helps them build better relationships because they don't view others through a competitive lens, but with respect and goodwill. These positive relationships, in turn, become a source of emotional support, helping them overcome life's pressures. Life isn't a ranking system to see who's ahead of whom. Life is a journey of self-discovery, where each person discovers their own potential and builds a better version of themselves over time. Understanding this, we stop looking outward and start looking inward, where our true goals, values, and direction lie. This shift in perspective reduces pressure and increases self-confidence day by day. If you found this lesson helpful, please subscribe to the Simple Philosophy channel to continue following videos that help you build inner peace and overcome life's pressures more effectively each day. 7. Break down a big problem into smaller steps. When a problem is too big, tackle it in smaller parts. The pressure will be greatly reduced. In life, many people feel exhausted, not because the work is too difficult, but because they see an overwhelming workload ahead. When everything piles up at once, the mind easily becomes stressed, feeling as if no matter how hard they try, it's difficult to complete. This feeling of being overwhelmed causes many people to procrastinate, lose motivation, and the pressure increases. It's worth noting that if the same workload is broken down into smaller, more manageable parts, the feeling of being overwhelmed is significantly reduced. The human brain works most effectively when processing specific, well-defined tasks. When we set ourselves a goal that's too broad, such as changing careers, completing a major project, improving finances, or solving a long-term problem, the mind often doesn't know where to begin. This ambiguity creates stress. But when the goal is broken down into smaller steps, such as tasks to be done today, this week, or this month, everything becomes clearer and easier to accomplish. This clarity helps us start taking action instead of standing still in anxiety. Breaking down a problem into smaller parts also helps us feel a sense of progress. When a large goal remains unfinished, it's easy to feel like we haven't achieved anything yet. But when the goal is divided into smaller parts, each completed part brings a feeling of progress. These small feelings of progress are very effective because they nurture motivation. When people see they are on the right track, they have more energy to continue trying. Conversely, if they work for a long time without seeing clear results, many people easily lose faith and give up halfway. Another important benefit is that breaking things down helps reduce the fear of starting. Many people procrastinate not because they are lazy, but because they feel the task ahead is too big. When a task is broken down into very small first steps, such as writing 1 page instead of an entire document, reading 10 pages instead of a whole book, or tackling a small part of the problem instead of the whole thing, the mind is more receptive to starting. Once started, the momentum of action will help us continue with the next steps more easily. Breaking down a problem into smaller parts also helps us manage our time more effectively. When things are divided into specific parts, we can allocate appropriate time to each part, avoiding last-minute rushes. Completing each step according to the plan creates a sense of control, and this sense of control significantly reduces pressure. Conversely, when everything piles up as one large block, time becomes tight and stress increases. Another important point is that breaking things down makes adjustments easier. When pursuing a large goal, mistakes or changes are inevitable. By working on smaller parts, we have the opportunity to check and adjust early, thus avoiding having to start everything over. This not only saves time, but also reduces stress. Knowing that we can make adjustments step by step gives us more confidence as we move forward. Breaking down a problem into smaller parts also helps us maintain focus. When trying to handle too many things at once, the mind easily becomes distracted and efficiency decreases. When focusing on only one small step at a time, attention is more concentrated, and the quality of work is better. This concentration creates a sense of control, and a sense of control is a crucial factor in helping people stay calm under pressure. The reality is that all great achievements are built from small, repeated steps over a long period. A book is written page by page. A building is constructed piece by piece. A skill is honed day by day. Understanding this principle helps us avoid rushing to complete everything immediately, and instead learn to be patient with each small step. This patience leads to a more stable mind and a more sustainable journey. A simple approach is that whenever faced with a major problem, write down all the smaller steps needed. Then, start with the smallest step that can be done immediately. Once the first step is completed, move on to the next. This method helps transform a seemingly insurmountable task into a series of smaller, manageable steps. As each step is completed, the pressure naturally decreases because we can clearly see our progress. Breaking down a problem into smaller parts also helps build self-confidence. Each time we complete a small step, we receive a signal that we are capable of handling the difficulty. When this signal is repeated many times, self-belief increases. This confidence is the foundation that helps us face bigger challenges in the future without feeling too afraid. In life, pressure often arises when we feel overwhelmed and overwhelmed. By breaking down problems into smaller steps and taking things one at a time, we shift from feeling crushed to feeling like we're gradually gaining control of the situation. This simple change has a significant impact on our mental state. It helps us stay calm, maintain motivation, and move forward with confidence. Remember that you don't need to solve your entire life in one day. Just do your best today, then move on to tomorrow, and the long road will gradually shorten. When you know how to break down big problems into smaller steps and persevere with each step. Pressure will no longer be an overwhelming burden, but a journey you can navigate calmly and persistently each day. 8. Maintaining a positive circle of relationships is one of the key factors in helping people overcome life's pressures. Everyone is influenced by their surroundings. Being around positive people makes it easier to think positively. Being around people who constantly complain makes it easier to feel tired and demotivated. Therefore, choosing your relationships is not just about choosing friends, but also about choosing your own mental future. In modern life, pressure from work, finances, family, and ever-increasing societal expectations is immense. No one can completely avoid pressure. However, some people manage to remain calm and confident in difficult circumstances. One important reason is that they have a healthy circle of relationships. The people around them often encourage, support, and provide positive energy. This helps them not feel alone when facing challenges. A positive circle of relationships doesn't necessarily need to be large. Just a few truly sincere people are enough to create immense strength. A friend who listens when you're tired is worth far more than someone who only shows up when things are going well. The quality of relationships is more important than the quantity. When you know there are always people you trust and who are willing to support you, your mind will be more stable and your ability to withstand pressure will be stronger. Many psychological studies show that human emotions are easily contagious among those close to us. Regular contact with optimistic people makes it easier to develop optimistic thinking habits. Regular contact with pessimistic people makes it easier to view things negatively. Therefore, choosing the right environment for interaction is a very important decision. It directly affects how we think and act every day. Maintaining a positive circle of relationships also helps us see problems more clearly. When faced with difficulties, we often easily fall into extreme thinking or lose faith in ourselves. A positive friend can help us look at the problem from a calmer perspective. They don't solve it for us, but they help us remember that difficulties are only a temporary phase. That simple reminder is sometimes enough to help us regain the motivation to keep trying. Another benefit of a positive circle of relationships is its ability to motivate growth. Being around people who are always striving tends to motivate us to strive harder. Being around people who are always learning motivates us to learn as well. Our environment is like a flowing stream. If we stand in a forward-flowing stream, we can easily move with it. If we stand in a counter-current, we will have to work much harder to move forward. However, to cultivate a positive circle of relationships, we also need to be proactive in our choices. Not all relationships should be maintained at a close level. Some relationships only bring fatigue and negativity. This doesn't mean we have to cut ties completely, but rather adjust the distance. Spending more time with people who bring positive energy and reducing exposure to negative energy sources is the first step in protecting our mental well-being. Maintaining a positive circle of relationships also requires us to be positive ourselves. No one wants to be around someone who is always complaining and pessimistic. When we learn to listen, share, and encourage others, we will also attract people with similar attitudes. Positive relationships are always two-way. When we bring value, we also receive value in return. A simple story can illustrate this. A young man started a job in a highly competitive environment and often felt stressed. He used to spend most of his time with friends who only complained about work and life. Every time they met, they talked more about difficulties than solutions. Gradually, he felt increasing pressure and lost faith in the future. After a while, he decided to change. He joined a study group where people shared knowledge and experiences on self-development. Initially, he just listened, but gradually he started sharing his goals and received much encouragement. Meeting the group once a week, the change in his mindset was evident. He began focusing on improving his skills instead of just complaining about difficulties. After a year, he received a promotion opportunity that he had previously thought was too far-fetched. The change wasn't just in his job, but in the environment and relationships that helped him change his perspective on life. That story illustrates that the environment of relationships is like the soil that nurtures the spirit. When the soil is good, seeds easily sprout. When the soil is poor, seeds struggle to grow. The same is true for people. Individual abilities are important, but the surrounding environment determines the speed of growth. To build a positive circle of relationships, we can start with small steps. First, proactively connect with people who have a proactive attitude. Second, maintain the habit of talking about solutions instead of just discussing problems. Third, learn to praise and acknowledge the efforts of others. These small actions will help make relationships warmer and more positive. It's also important to remember that no one is always completely positive. Everyone has tiring days. A positive circle of relationships isn't about everyone being happy all the time, but about people being there to support each other when they're weak. Sincerity and mutual respect are the most important foundations. When we have a positive circle of relationships, we realize that life's pressures are no longer as daunting as before. We know that there are always people behind us, ready to listen and encourage. The feeling of being supported makes us much stronger. Many people may be talented, but still easily give up because they feel alone. Conversely, some people with average abilities go very far because they always have companions by their side. Ultimately, maintaining a positive circle of relationships not only helps us overcome current difficulties, but also lays the foundation for lasting happiness. When life changes, we still have strong relationships to rely on. True success is not just about personal achievements, but also about the journey shared with good people. Take a look at the relationships around you today. Spend more time with people who bring positive energy. Proactively become a source of good energy for others. When your environment changes, your spirit will change too. And when your spirit is stronger, all the pressures of life will become much lighter. 9. Learning to say no is a crucial skill that is often overlooked. From a young age, many people are taught to be obedient, helpful to others, and readily available to take on tasks when asked. This creates a habit of agreeing too quickly, even when overwhelmed. When time and energy are divided among too many unnecessary tasks, pressure increases, and feelings of burnout gradually appear. Many people think that saying no is selfish, but the reality is quite the opposite. Saying no at the right time helps protect mental health, allows you to focus on what truly matters, and helps you get things done better. Someone who takes on too much responsibility often struggles to complete tasks with high quality. Conversely, someone who knows how to choose the right tasks has a greater chance of producing good and consistent results. The pressures of modern life come not only from work, but also from social demands. Invitations to activities, requests for help, and offers of collaboration appear constantly. Without clear boundaries, people can easily fall into a state of being constantly busy, but feeling like they are not progressing. Many people feel tired at the end of the day, but still don't understand why, because they have spent too much time on things that are not really necessary. Learning to say no starts with understanding the value of your time. Each day has a limited amount of time. Spending time on one thing means sacrificing time for something else. If we always agree to every request, we inadvertently lose time for our health, family, studies, and rest. Realizing this helps us see that saying no isn't about refusing others, but about protecting what's important in our lives. One reason many people find it difficult to say no is the fear of disappointing others. They worry that refusing will be perceived as uncooperative or unenthusiastic. However, in reality, professionals generally respect those who know their limits. When someone only accepts appropriate tasks, they tend to complete their work more reliably. Clarity builds trust in long-term relationships. Furthermore, saying no helps build self-confidence. Each time we dare to refuse an inappropriate request, we are affirming that our time and energy are valuable. The feeling of control over our schedule and responsibilities leads to greater mental stability. When the mind is not stretched thin by too many obligations, people have more space to think creatively and make better decisions. A familiar story illustrates this. A young employee at a company was always ready to take on extra work whenever a colleague asked for help. Initially, everyone praised his enthusiasm, but after a while, he started working late consistently and frequently making mistakes due to overload. The pressure caused him insomnia and made him feel overwhelmed by the workload. After receiving feedback from his manager, he began to learn to carefully consider before accepting new tasks. He only accepted tasks that truly matched his abilities and schedule. Some colleagues were initially surprised, but later they realized that the quality of his work had improved significantly, and they respected his decision more. Just a small change in how he responded helped him regain his balance. Learning to say no doesn't mean giving a stiff or cold response. You can decline politely and sincerely. For example, you could explain that you're currently focused on completing an important project and can't take on more work. When others understand your reason, they're usually more receptive. Honesty combined with respect helps maintain good relationships. A helpful technique is to pause before responding. Instead of agreeing immediately, take a few minutes to consider whether the request is truly appropriate. A short pause helps avoid habitual reactions and provides an opportunity to assess your own capabilities. Just a few seconds of thought can help you make a more informed decision. It's also important to remember that every time you say something, you're adding more responsibility to your life. If too many yeses are given without consideration, pressure will build up day by day. At some point, people can easily fall into a state of prolonged stress and lose motivation. Conversely, knowing clear limits allows you to maintain stable energy levels over the long term. Another benefit of saying no is creating opportunities for others to grow. When we always take on all the tasks ourselves, others have fewer chances to try new things. When we politely decline, they proactively seek solutions and learn new skills. This helps the team develop in a more balanced way, instead of relying on a few people who always take on too much work. Learning to say no is also a crucial step in building a purposeful life. Everyone has their own goals, but those goals can only be achieved when time and energy are focused in the right direction. Constantly getting caught up in unrelated tasks will slow down your progress. Saying no helps maintain direction and protect the necessary focus. To practice this skill, we can start with small situations. Refuse unnecessary invitations or tasks that are beyond your current capabilities. As you get used to it, you'll become more confident in making bigger decisions. Like any skill, saying no requires practice. Each successful instance will bring relief and a sense of balance to your life. Ultimately, it's important to understand that a person's value doesn't lie in pleasing everyone, but in living true to their abilities and goals. By choosing appropriate responsibilities, we not only reduce stress, but also improve our quality of life. Maintaining calmness, focus, and mental health will help us go further on our life's journey. So start observing the demands that arise each day and ask yourself if they are truly necessary. Having the courage to say no to what is inappropriate is a way of saying yes to what is most important. When you know your limits, pressure will gradually decrease, and positive energy will have a chance to return to your daily life. 10. Acknowledging small daily progress is a simple yet powerful habit for building self-confidence and maintaining long-term motivation. Many people focus only on major achievements, forgetting that all lasting results are built from small, repeated steps. When they don't see immediate results, they easily feel like they haven't accomplished anything and gradually lose faith in themselves. Therefore, recognizing and appreciating each small step helps people see their growth journey more clearly. In modern life, people often set big goals such as career success, financial improvement, improved health, or learning new skills. These goals require a long time to achieve. If you only feel satisfied when you've accomplished everything, the journey will be exhausting. Conversely, by acknowledging small progress each day, the mind feels a sense of continuous improvement. This feeling is like a quiet source of energy that helps people keep striving without feeling overwhelmed. Someone learning a foreign language may not become fluent immediately, but learning a few new words each day and understanding a short conversation each day is progress. Someone wanting to improve their health may not see dramatic changes in the first few weeks, but maintaining a daily walk and going to bed a little earlier is also progress. When these small changes are noticed, the brain creates a feeling of satisfaction and encourages the positive behavior to continue. Over time, these small changes accumulate into significant results that many people don't expect. Many people often compare themselves to those who have achieved great things and feel they are progressing too slowly. However, they forget that anyone who succeeds started with small steps. No one achieves great results overnight. The achievements we see today are usually the result of thousands of days of continuous effort. Understanding this will make people less impatient and more focused on improving each day instead of worrying about the remaining gap. Acknowledging small progress also helps reduce psychological pressure. When goals are too big, the mind easily feels overwhelmed and procrastinates. But when goals are broken down into small steps and each step is acknowledged, people feel the task becomes easier. Completing a small task each day creates a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction, which helps maintain stable motivation. Stable motivation is far more important than strong but fleeting inspiration. A simple way to practice this habit is to record what you've accomplished at the end of each day. This could be completing a difficult task, starting a new habit, learning a small thing, or simply maintaining patience in a stressful situation. Looking back at your accomplishments, you'll realize you're not standing still but moving forward. This sense of progress reinforces the belief that your efforts are worthwhile. Furthermore, acknowledging small progress helps change the perspective on failure. When focusing solely on the final outcome, even small mistakes can easily lead to disappointment. But when viewing the journey as a series of learning steps, each mistake becomes a lesson that helps make the next step better. As a result, one's mindset becomes more resilient, and the ability to recover from difficulties is stronger. A familiar story in sports illustrates this point. Many athletes don't aim to break records immediately, but instead focus on improving small metrics each day. They try to run a little faster, lift a little heavier weight, or improve their technique slightly. These small changes may not be immediately noticeable, but over months, the cumulative result becomes a significant leap forward. The key isn't making big changes in a single day, but rather persistently repeating these small improvements over a long period. The habit of acknowledging small progress also helps build healthy self-esteem. When people realize they are capable of improving every day, they gain more confidence in their abilities. This confidence helps them dare to try new goals and face bigger challenges. Conversely, if they always think they are not good enough and ignore small steps forward, their minds easily fall into a state of self-doubt and lack of motivation. In the workplace, this habit also yields noticeable results. A team often achieves better results when members acknowledge small improvements together, rather than waiting until a large project is completed. Timely recognition creates a sense of being valued and fosters collaboration. When everyone feels their efforts are seen, they are more willing to contribute. Maintaining this habit requires a change in how you evaluate success. Success isn't just about big milestones, but also about consistent daily effort. At the end of each day, ask yourself what progress you've made, however small. This simple question helps shift your mindset from a feeling of inadequacy to one of growth. When this feeling of growth is sustained, self-confidence naturally increases. Finally, remember that every long journey is made up of small steps. No small step is meaningless if it brings you closer to your goal. By acknowledging each small step of progress, you will see the path ahead more clearly and your self-confidence will grow stronger. Small but consistent progress is the solid foundation for great self-confidence and lasting success in the future. 11. Cultivating inner peace is one of the most important skills for overcoming life's pressures. When the mind is chaotic, people are more likely to make hasty decisions, say things they will regret, and feel exhausted. Conversely, maintaining composure, no matter how difficult the circumstances, allows people to think clearly and find appropriate solutions. Calmness is not a natural ability possessed by a select few, but a habit that can be cultivated daily through very simple actions. In modern life, many people start their day in a rush. They wake up, immediately check their phones, and think about unfinished tasks and things they need to do during the day. Their minds are immediately swept up in a whirlwind of thoughts, leaving their bodies stressed before they have had a chance to rest. If this continues for a long time, people will become accustomed to constant anxiety and find it very difficult to regain a sense of peace. Therefore, dedicating a few minutes each day to practicing calmness is essential. One of the simplest and most effective methods is deep breathing. When stressed, breathing often becomes short and rapid, further increasing fatigue. Conversely, slow, deep breathing signals to the body that everything is safe, leading to a more stable heart rate and reduced stress. Just a few minutes of slowly inhaling, holding your breath, and gently exhaling is enough to calm the mind. This small habit, if maintained regularly, will create a noticeable change in your ability to control your emotions. Walking is also a simple way to help calm the mind. When the body moves gently, the stream of stressful thoughts gradually slows down. Many people find that after a short walk, they feel clearer-minded and find it easier to solve problems. This happens because as the body moves, breathing becomes more regular, and the brain gets a rest from constant stressful thinking. You don't need to walk far. Just a few minutes of slow walking each day can bring great benefits. Sitting still for a few minutes each day is also an important form of exercise. Many people think sitting still is a waste of time, but in reality, it's a time that helps the mind reorganize. When sitting still and doing nothing but paying attention to your breath or body sensations, you'll realize that many anxious thoughts are actually unnecessary. As a result, emotions become calmer, and the ability to focus on important tasks increases. People who maintain the habit of sitting still every day tend to be better at staying calm in stressful situations. A major benefit of cultivating a calm mind is that it helps people react rather than react. When emotions are out of control, people often react immediately with anger or anxiety. But once the mind is accustomed to a calm state, they can pause for a few seconds to think before acting. This brief pause helps avoid many wrong decisions and maintain good relationships with those around them. Many conflicts in life actually occur because people react too quickly when emotions are still raging. Cultivating calmness also helps increase mental resilience. Life inevitably has its difficult periods, but those who remain calm tend to overcome them more quickly because they don't get caught up in panic. When their minds are stable, they can view problems holistically and choose appropriate solutions instead of just seeing the risks. It is this calmness that helps people feel they are still in control of the situation, thereby strengthening their self-confidence. The earlier this habit is cultivated, the longer lasting its benefits. Just a few minutes each day of deep breathing, walking, or sitting still may seem insignificant, but when repeated over months and years, it forms a solid mental foundation. When faced with major events, those accustomed to cultivating calmness will not be overwhelmed as before, because their minds have developed the ability to stabilize themselves. This is similar to how regular physical exercise keeps the body healthier when strenuous activity is required. Furthermore, calmness spreads to those around you. When a person maintains a calm demeanor in difficult circumstances, they create a sense of reassurance for others. In families, workplaces, or any group setting, the presence of a calm person often helps reduce overall tension and facilitates collaborative problem solving. Therefore, cultivating calmness not only benefits oneself, but also brings advantages to the surrounding community. It's important not to wait until you're extremely stressed to start practicing. Consider deep breathing, walking, or sitting still for a few minutes each day as a natural part of life. With regular practice, your mind will gradually become accustomed to a state of stability, and feelings of peace will appear more frequently. Calmness isn't something unattainable. It's the result of small habits maintained daily. When the mind is calm, one will have the clarity and strength to face life's challenges. 12. Difficulties are something no one wants, but they are an indispensable part of each person's journey to maturity. When life is easy, we feel comfortable, but it is during challenging periods that our inner strength is most clearly forged. If we view difficulties only as burdens, we easily feel tired and want to give up. But when we understand that pressure is also an opportunity for growth, we will face it more calmly and strongly. In nature, anything that wants to grow needs to go through a process of enduring stress. Trees need wind to grow tall. Metals need high temperatures to harden. The same is true for humans. If life were always easy and effortless, we would find it difficult to recognize our own limitations and develop new abilities. It is precisely during seemingly the most difficult times that opportunities arise to learn new skills, understand ourselves better, and build mental resilience. Many people, when faced with pressure, often wonder why they are in this situation. This question sometimes makes them feel unfairly treated and lose motivation to move forward. But if they change their perspective and ask themselves what they can learn from this situation, their mindset will change. This new question helps people shift from complaining to taking action. By focusing on the lesson instead of feeling unfairly treated, they will find a clearer path forward. One of the greatest values of hardship is that it helps people realize their hidden strengths. There are abilities that we don't need to use when life is easy, so we don't even know we possess them. Only when faced with challenges are we forced to find ways to overcome them. And through that, we discover our patience, creativity, and resilience. After each challenge overcomes, people often realize they are stronger than they previously thought. Difficulties also help people mature in their thinking. When things are easy, we tend to act habitually and think less. But when we encounter obstacles, we are forced to stop, reconsider our approach, understand the causes, and adjust our course. This process of reflection helps to develop maturity and a deeper understanding of problems. It is these challenging experiences that create maturity that books can hardly provide. Many successful people share that the most difficult periods in their lives are crucial foundations for later achievements. Starting from scratch teaches them perseverance, step by step. Each failure teaches them how to prepare better for the next. These lessons accumulate gradually and become invaluable experiences that help them stand firm when greater opportunities arise. Without those challenging periods, they might not have the resilience to sustain their success. Believing that difficulties are opportunities for self-improvement doesn't mean denying feelings of fatigue or pressure. People can still feel anxious and sometimes want to rest. The important thing is that after resting, we get up again and keep going. It is not giving up that makes a lasting difference. Each time we take another step forward, even just a small one, it's a way to strengthen our willpower and reinforce self-belief. Another benefit of viewing challenges as opportunities is that it helps reduce fear. When people think of challenges as only bringing suffering, they often avoid them and worry before even starting. But when we understand that challenges are also exercises that help us grow, we approach them with a learning mindset. This mindset reduces pressure and instead fosters a sense of initiative. This initiative helps us focus on action instead of being consumed by anxiety. Furthermore, hardship helps people appreciate the ordinary things in life. Experiencing scarcity teaches us the value of stability. Experiencing fatigue teaches us the value of health and rest. Therefore, when life becomes more comfortable, we learn to cherish and be grateful for things instead of taking everything for granted. This gratitude brings peace of mind and happiness. To turn difficulties into opportunities for self-improvement, one needs to cultivate a habit of positive and realistic thinking. Positivity isn't about convincing yourself that everything is easy, but about believing that you can learn from the situation. Whenever you encounter a problem, ask yourself what you can improve, what you can learn, and what the next small step is. By focusing on these questions, you will gradually shift from feeling pressured to feeling like you are growing. Most importantly, perseverance is key. Inner strength isn't built after a single attempt, but through facing challenges repeatedly. Each difficulty overcome is like a workout that strengthens the mind. After many such experiences, people realize they are no longer as easily swayed as before and can remain calmer in stressful situations. This is a sign of inner maturity. Life always has its easy and challenging phases. No one can completely avoid pressure, but everyone can choose how they perceive it. When we believe that difficulties are also opportunities for growth, we will no longer see pressure as an enemy, but as an exercise that helps us develop. Thanks to this perspective, people become more resilient, more confident, and ready to move forward on the long road ahead. 13. Every person goes through periods of pressure and challenges. Sometimes the pressure comes from work, sometimes from family responsibilities, sometimes from the expectations we set for ourselves. What differentiates those who persevere from those who easily give up is often not the circumstances, but whether they know what they are striving for. When people have a meaningful goal in life, pressure is no longer just a burden, but becomes a motivation that helps them continue moving forward. A meaningful goal is like a lamp illuminating the path in the dark night. When the path is clear, whether we walk slowly or quickly, we know we are moving forward. But without a clear goal, even small difficulties can cause us to lose our way. We easily feel that all our efforts become meaningless and gradually lose motivation. Therefore, maintaining a meaningful goal not only helps to guide our actions, but also helps us maintain our spirits during stressful periods. A meaningful goal doesn't necessarily have to be something grand and beyond our reach. It could be the desire to better care for our family, build a stable life, develop ourselves to become a useful member of society, or simply live each day better than the day before. What matters isn't the scale of the goal, but the value it brings to our lives. When goals are connected to profound values, people gain the strength to persevere even when faced with obstacles. Many people feel pressured because they focus only on the immediate difficulties and forget the reason they started. When they remember that reason, their minds often become more steadfast. For example, someone works hard not only for the salary, but also to provide a better life for their family. When faced with work pressure, focusing only on the workload can easily lead to fatigue. But remembering that their efforts are helping loved ones have a more stable life will give them more motivation to continue striving. Having meaningful goals also helps people choose what's important. In modern life, there are many things that attract attention and consume time. Without clear goals, we easily get caught up in unnecessary things and then feel pressured because we don't have time for what's important. When we know clearly what we're aiming for, we can easily prioritize what's truly necessary and reduce things that waste energy. As a result, pressure is reduced and work efficiency increases. Another benefit of keeping meaningful goals is that it helps people become more patient. Sustainable achievements often take a long time to develop. During that process, there will inevitably be times of slow progress or setbacks. Without strong goals, people are more likely to give up before seeing results. But when we understand that each small step today contributes to building a larger goal, we will be willing to continue even if progress isn't as expected. This patience is the foundation for long-term success. Furthermore, having meaningful goals brings a sense of purpose to life. When we wake up each day knowing what we are working towards, our efforts become more meaningful. Even small tasks become part of a larger journey. This feeling helps people persevere under pressure because they understand that their current efforts are not in vain. They are gradually bringing them closer to what they believe in. To maintain a meaningful goal over the long term, people need to regularly remind themselves of why they started. They can write their goal down on paper, look back at it whenever they feel tired, or spend a few minutes each day asking themselves what progress they've made. These small habits help keep the goal present in their minds and become a stable source of motivation. When the goal is frequently reminded, pressure is more easily transformed into energy for action. It's also important to remember that goals can change throughout life. That's perfectly natural. The key is to have a clear direction at each stage that aligns with your values. When goals are aligned with your current circumstances and abilities, you'll feel your efforts have real meaning. This helps maintain long-term motivation instead of chasing goals that are no longer relevant. Life is full of unavoidable challenges, but when you know what you're striving for, pressure no longer feels like a burden. Instead, it becomes a reminder that the path ahead is valuable enough to keep you going. Every step, however small, is meaningful because it brings you closer to your chosen goal. Therefore, take the time to think about what truly matters in your life. When your goals are clear and meaningful enough, you will realize that the strength to overcome pressure lies not in favorable circumstances, but in the meaning of the path you are taking. When you know clearly what you are going through, you will have more perseverance, calmness, and enduring motivation to move forward through all of life's challenges. Pressure is an inseparable part of life. At any stage of life, people will face responsibilities, expectations, and unpredictable challenges. The important thing is not to try to eliminate pressure entirely, but to learn how to stand firm when pressure arises. When we understand that pressure is a natural part of life, we become less fearful and less confused. Instead of reacting with resistance, our minds shift to observing and finding solutions. This small shift in perspective has helped many people navigate difficult times without losing faith. Each of the small rules you heard in the video isn't something grand or far-fetched. They're just simple actions you can take every day. Get a little more sleep. Focus a little more on what's important. Say no to unnecessary things a little more often. These small changes, repeated long enough, will build up significantly. Many people wait until life is perfect before they start making changes. But the reality is that peace doesn't come when things are easy, but when people learn to adjust their way of life in the present moment. Just starting with a small step today will take you far further than simply thinking without acting. There will be days when you feel tired and want to give up. That's perfectly normal. At times like these, remember that progress isn't always rapid and forceful. Sometimes, progress is simply about continuing to move slowly, but never stopping. It is this quiet perseverance that creates lasting strength. When you apply these small rules each day, you'll find your mind gradually becoming more stable. The problems that used to stress you out will no longer occupy your thoughts. You'll begin to see difficulties as part of the journey, rather than as things disrupting your life. Steadfastness doesn't come from life becoming easier, but from your inner strength growing. As your inner strength increases, pressure still exists, but it's no longer enough to overwhelm you. You learn to stand firm amidst the storms while maintaining inner composure. Give yourself time to change. Don't demand to become strong immediately. Just a little progress each day, maintaining a good habit for one more day, keeping a positive mindset for one more time. These are valuable steps forward. These small steps, when added together, will create a very solid foundation. If you're still feeling stressed today, start with something simple. Slow down your breathing, reorganize your tasks, and remind yourself that every difficulty can be overcome step by step. When you don't give up, the situation will eventually change. If you want to continue receiving more lessons to help you live a more peaceful and stronger life, subscribe to the channel to follow the next videos. And if you think this content can help someone who is feeling overwhelmed, please share the video so they know they don't have to face pressure alone.